भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति। We are discussing the chapter 4 yogas, Bhakti Yoga. Yoga is the method by which you unite with your real nature. That is yoga. There are various methods by which the union can be achieved. When I say various methods means the Karma Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, the Jnana Yoga, the Hatha Yoga. And then we went on to the detailed explanation of seeing what is Bhakti Yoga. In the context of discussing Bhakti Yoga, we have discussed it till now that Bhakti is not a obsessive, sentimental, emotional attachment to a deity. We have seen that till now. First thing that we understood is Bhakti is not an obsessive, emotional, sentimental attachment to a deity. The deity is a symbolic representation. The deity is not reality in itself. The deity is a symbolic representation. I am just summarizing what we have studied till now, and then we will move on to the discussion for today. So first is, Bhakti is not an obsessive attachment to a deity, nor is Bhakti a obsessive attachment to a deity because you believe the deity is going to grant your wishes. Otherwise, why will you get attached? Why will anybody get attached to a deity unless the deity is going to grant the prayers? Isn't it? For human mind will not relate without a benefit. The law of selfishness is human mind, if it has to relate, the benefit has to be, there has to be a benefit. If that benefit is not there, the human mind will not relate. Like somebody, a few of you is believing that there is going to be a benefit out of these classes, there is a relationship with the class. If you think that there is nothing that is going to come out of these classes for you, why will you come and sit? Therefore, all association is aimed through a benefit. So, the same attitude continues to a deity also. So, if a person is obsessively attached to a deity, that obsessive attachment to the deity, not because that person is in love with the deity. That person is obsessively attached to a deity because through the deity your problems are going to get sorted out. Through the deity your problems are going to get sorted out. And if the deity were to turn back and say, I don't have the strength or power to sort your problems out, all temples, churches, mosques will be shut down. All temples, all churches, all mosques will get shut down if the deity turns back and says the reality. Thank God the deity is not saying that. We are continuing with our so-called bhakti. First we have understood that is not bhakti. First. The second thing we understood is bhakti is surrendering to the divine providence and surrendering to the area of ignorance. Then we went on to see what is real bhakti. What is real bhakti devotion? Surrendering to the divine principle and recognizing your ignorance. Recognizing the area of your ignorance, you surrender. Then we went on to discuss how do we know that we are in the right path of bhakti? 35 qualities, which is where we concluded last session. I said we are not going to discuss the qualities individually because in Bhagavad Gita we are going to do that. We just took it as an indicative. 35 qualities are the indicators of a true Bhakta, devotee of God. And then we concluded by saying Bhakti is a discipline. We concluded last week. Bhakti arises out of a discipline. The devotional path requires a high level of discipline and training to develop the divine traits. If you have to develop these 35 qualities, you need to develop this. It requires a high discipline. And today, bhakti has no relevance to Bhakti has got no relevance to discipline today. You go and tell any one of the bhaktas today that bhakti requires discipline, they will not want bhakti yoga. They will try some other method. They will go to talisman fellow. They will go to the dayat fellow. Because today bhakti and dayat are one and the same. Dayat fellow, you understand, no? The fellow who says all your problems will be solved by the talisman that I sell. Bhakti yoga is a discipline, not as simple as we think in terms of simply chanting some mantras, doing some rituals, doing some aradhana, doing some puja, going to a temple and becoming a life member of the temple. Bhakti has got no connection with any of these. For the important understanding of bhakti is what? The deity is not God. In Bhakti Yoga, the important thing to understand is that deity is not God. I tell you, you can hear this a million times, but you will still go back saying deity is God. You will listen to all this and then you will go there only. I am not saying you should not go, please. I am not saying you should not go. You can go. Bhakti Yoga will not happen. Union with the reality will not happen. That's what we are saying. You can still go and do whatever you want to do. But what will not happen? In times of distress, the deity will let you down and you will get very disappointed with the deity will let you down and you will get very disappointed with the deity. And then you will come back and say there is no God at all. Vedanta says, correct. It's better to be an atheist and say there is no God than to believe in a God in the manner in which people are believing about God. And yet Bhakti Yoga is a discipline. And yet Bhakti Yoga is seen as a discipline. Are you all okay till now? Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is very difficult because you will not get emotional with Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Why you will not get emotional with Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga கேட்கறதுக்கு நல்லா இருக்குது சார், பட்டிமன்றம் மாதிரி நீங்க பேசுறது நல்லா இருக்குது, கேட்கறோம், இட்ஸ் ஓகே. Jnana Yoga, that's all. Karma Yoga, that is for children. Others will do Karma Yoga. I have grown up where I don't need to do. Jnana Yoga is a debate club discussion. Karma Yoga is for children. And what will the vast majority do? Bhakti Yoga, sir. And what is Bhakti Yoga? Imagining the deity to be God. Imagining the deity to be God. And the deity is not God. For the idol represents the ideal. The idol represents the ideal. What is bhakti then? In a way that we can understand, that we are going to conclude today. Hopefully today we will conclude Bhakti Yoga. Then, what is real devotion? What is the earnest part of devotion? Is the question that we are going to discuss today and come to understand what is Bhakti in the way that Shastras talk about. You can't go by your grandmother's stories about God. You have to go by those who have realized God, what they say about God. You have to go by that. Even today, even if we go to a doctor, we will not believe the doctor. We will come back and believe. Who do we believe? We will go to the doctor. We will take it. But who do we believe? If a person can believe the doctor, there is no problem at all. But we will not believe the doctor. We will believe. We will come back and believe the fellow who has no knowledge of what medicine is all about. We will believe that only. Therefore, we need to go by, if you want to know God, you can't go by the grandmother stories of God. You have to go by those who have realized the truth, what they talk about God. Therefore, a devotee is one who has faith in what the scriptures talk about God. A bhakta is one who has faith in what the scriptures talk about God. Not what the stories talk about God. Imagine a society living life based on stories. Imagine a family or individual or a society trusting a story and believing it to be correct. If a child takes the movie to be real, the child takes the movie hero to be real and base the entire life around the character of the movie, what would you tell that child? Will you join with the child or will you tell the child? What will you tell the child? If you are really interested in the welfare of the child, you will say, wake up. Wake up. Don't be in that. It's a story. You don't base your life, you don't base your understanding on divine on stories. Today, our definition of God is from stories. And stories are that which keep changing Beyond a point you really do not know. Beyond a point you really do not know what are you. Okay, imagine this. A person who read Ramayana during Valmiki time. A person who read Ramayana and have understanding of Rama in around 1000 AD versus a person understanding this is Rama now. Are all three of them worshipping the same Rama? Are all three of them worshipping the same Rama? No, because Rama himself has changed. Although in the TV Ramayana, we really do not know. After this TV Ramayana, you really do not know who is Rama. You really do not know who is Krishna. You really do not know who is Jesus Christ. You really do not know who is Muhammad. Why? Because we base on, we go through, we get easily carried away, we get easily convinced by, we are easily convinced by stories. And stories are meant for whom? Stories are meant for children. Children means ignorant. Stories are meant for children, and children means who are ignorant. Children is ignorant, no? At least you understand that. Stories are meant for children, and children means one who is ignorant. That is why we all want our children to get educated. Why do we want our children to get educated? Because child means being in ignorance. And in that ignorance, easily you will get carried away by a story. And Puranic stories talk about the deity, and the stories are taken to be true. Huge festival, Diwali, correct? During the times of Ayodhya, what Diwali they would have celebrated? When Rama was a child, Rama would not have known what Diwali is, no? Correct? Because Diwali started only after. Correct? Huh? But still they would not have known what Janmashtami is. Correct? Why? Because Krishna wasn't even. Are you able to follow? Stories are taken to be literally true, and all our conviction is revolving around a story. So what is bhakti? In order to know God, you cannot rely on a story. You have to rely on those who have realized God and talk about God, are the one who is authoritative to. If you are sensible, you will rely on that authority. And what is authority? Scripture is that authority. Shastra is that authority. And that Shastra says, what is Bhakti Yoga? We are going to discuss now. Yeah. I am just setting the background for our what we are going to discuss today. I am just setting the background. So it becomes easy when we start reading. Are you able to follow what I am saying? To put it very simply, the deity himself or itself or herself keeps changing. From non-vegetarian Rama became vegetarian. You know that, no? Yeah. Yaravadu Ramaoda devote irundha close your ears, sir. And don't get angry at me. Non-vegetarian Rama turned into a vegetarian Rama. "14 years in forest, what he thinks Rama lived on apples and bananas? Apples and bananas and papayas for 14 years. How the person can live for 14 years in forest? And in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama tells Lakshmana, get a soft, tender, young deer, he says. Get a soft, tender, young deer. அப்படின்னா முத்தின முருங்காயை வாங்காம நல்ல முருங்காயை பார்த்து வாங்கிவா, he said. Correct? Instead of முத்தின காய் வாங்கி வந்துடாத, நல்ல காயை பார்த்து வாங்கிடுங்க. That Rama was acceptable and he was worshipped then. We didn't have a problem of accepting that Rama. Today that Rama is unacceptable. Vegetarian Rama kuda ipo irukka maattar. Vegan Rama will happen now. Yeah. Even vegetarian Rama is not acceptable now. Rama has to turn up. You change, according to you the gods also has to change. Vedanta comes and says, your notion of God and what God is completely different, and the scripture is an authority on talking about God, not the stories. Puranas are stories, and stories are meant for children. And the saddest part is we are still children only. That's why we still believe in Amar Chitra Katha stories stuff. Yeah, we still believe in the stories. Even though we keep saying stories are for children, when we go to that temple, we are still doing the same story. Then, who is a real Bhakta? A real Bhakta is one who says, I will follow the lifestyle prescribed in the Shastras to realize God. That man is a Bhakta. I will follow the lifestyle that is prescribed in the Shastras, so that I can recognize God. That person becomes a Bhakta. That is where the last statement that we concluded last week. The devotional path requires a high level of discipline and training to develop the divine traits. We stopped with that. Now we will be discussing the real and earnest part of devotion. Now I will read the text, and from there we will see how the conclusion about Bhakti Yoga is going to happen. Now I am reading the text. The 4th chapter, the 4 yogas, the topic Bhakti Yoga. What is the number of this paragraph? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Para 12. Chapter, topic Bhakti Yoga, paragraph 12. The real and earnest part of devotion is seen in the annihilation of the ego, self-effacement. A true devotee considers himself a spoke in the wheel of life, surrenders his individuality to the totality, to the general plan of nature, recognizes and feels the divinity in and around. Devotion and love are the same emotion, differing in direction, not in nature. When a feeling of affection, fondness is directed to your equals or lower beings or objects, it's called love. The same directed towards the higher is known as devotion. You love your friend, your child, your pet, but you are devoted to your parents, Guru, God. Therefore, one cannot claim to have devotion to God if he has no love for his fellow beings. This idea has been well captured by James Henry Leigh Hunt in his poem Abu Ben Adam. The poem narrates Abu Ben Adam's encounter with an angel in his dream. Abu dreamt one night that he saw an angel writing in a book of gold. Abu asked the angel as to what it was writing. The angel replied that it was the names of those who love God. Abu inquired if his name was in that list. The angel replied it was not so. Then Abu cheerfully implored the angel to put his name down as one who loves his fellow men. The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it returned to show the names of all those whom God really loved. And that list had Abu Ben Adam name right on top. The poem, Abu Ben Adam. Abu Ben Adam, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adam bold. Unto the presence in the room he said, what writest thou? A vision raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord answered, the names of those who love the Lord. And is mine one? Said Abu. Nay, not so, replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, I pray thee, then write me as one that loves his fellow men. The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great awakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, Ben Adam's name led all the rest. James Henry Leigh Hunt. The thought of Bhakti Yoga is over. That's all. Bhakti Yoga is finished with this. And what is that? Bhakti implies emotion. Bhakti means emotion, devotion. And emotion is that which flows. According to the direction in which it flows, the name differs. Emotion is that emotion, feelings is that which flows. When it is flowing, the direction in which it flows determines the difference. When the emotion is flowing towards those who are equal to you, perhaps lower beings, that emotion of fondness, affection is called love. When the same emotion of fondness, affection, love, direction is towards higher, it is called devotion. This definition has to be understood very clearly, because the entire discussion is dependent upon this definition. What is emotion? A feeling of affection, a feeling of fondness. That is the emotion. And emotion is that which flows. When we say emotion is that which flows, the flow is determined by the direction. If it is at your level and towards the lower, it's called love. You say, I love my house, I love my furniture, I love my dog, I love my children. What is love means? A feeling of fondness, affection. Correct? That's what love is all about. When the same emotion of love and fondness is directed towards the higher, It's called devotion. That is why you say, I am devoted to parents. I am devoted to my parents. I am devoted to my teacher. I am devoted to Guru. I am devoted to God. So, it can be called as love or it can be called as devotion. What is common? The feeling of fondness. The feeling of fondness and affection is common. Are you okay till now? If there is a genuine feeling of fondness and affection, what will you do? If there is a genuine feeling of affection, if there is a genuine feeling of fondness, what would you do? What will anybody do? I am not asking you in person. What will anybody do? They will start. Type பண்ணுங்க. எனக்கும் ஆன்சர் கேள்வி தான் நானும் கேட்டுட்டேன். I will also take some time to get the answer. Yeah. When there is this feeling of fondness and affection, what would you do towards the object of fondness? Prasad, perfectly correct. Serve. You will start serving. You will start serving. That's correct. You will start serving. You will say, I want to serve, because affection will result in service. So what is Bhakti Yoga now? If affection is going to result in service, is accepted. What is Bhakti Yoga then? Bhakti Yoga means it not showing affection to a deity, it is showing affection to the fellow beings. Showing affection to fellow beings. Yeah. Theoretically to arrive is very easy. Yeah? Serve and sacrifice, exactly correct. That's what Bhakti is all about. Bhakti is not an affection to a deity. Because when you are affectionate to a deity, what is it that the deity is going to? What the deity is? The deity represents the divine. And the divine is seen through the affection to the fellow beings. Abu Ben Adam is a very simple way of what Krishna said in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as hate no being. Both are saying the same thing. James Henry Lehunt is also saying the same thing. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says it he puts it in a poetic, he puts it in a form of the poetry. Serving whom? So when you are affectionate, you start serving, correct? Now comes the challenge. When that love is polluted with selfishness, which is what is happening today. When that love is polluted with selfishness, it's no more service and sacrifice, it turns into possessiveness, attachment. That is what is happening today. In the name of Bhakti, in the name of love, what is happening? We are having only, in the name of love, there is no service that is happening. In the name of love, there is only possessiveness and attachment. Why? Because the love is polluted by selfishness. What is Bhakti Yoga? The effort you put to love minus the selfishness. Are you able to follow? The effort you put, the effort you make to develop this affection, this love, minus the selfishness. Therefore, what is bhakti? Love. And love means service and sacrifice. For a bhakta, he will say, there is no such thing called sacrifice, this is what I am supposed to do. Bhakta will say, this is what I am supposed to do. No parent will say, I sacrificed for my children. Will they say that? Will you say that? You will say, this is what I am supposed to do. So where there is love, you will not, because in service and sacrifice there is an otherness. Whenever we talk about service and sacrifice, whenever we talk about love and service, there is an otherness. In Bhakti Yoga, there is no sacrifice at all. The Bhakta doesn't talk about sacrifice at all because there is no otherness for him to say, I have sacrificed. Just as you will not say, I sacrificed to my children. Will you say that? If you say that, no. That's what that man told me. There, long back, in Chitra's house, that's what that man told me. I have sacrificed to my children. Am I a sannyasi? What would you call that man? Are you able to follow? He said, I have sacrificed, sir, everything I have given it to my children. Am I a sannyasi now? The very thought that he is saying, I have sacrificed to my children, it means there is otherness still. Where is bhakti in that? Where is love in that? Where is affection in that? Are you able to follow what I am saying? So, even the word service and sacrifice, Bhakta will not use that word service and sacrifice. He simply says, this is what I am supposed to, this is what I am supposed to do, I am doing this, I did this. What is the big talk about? That's why a Bhakta can never relate to the sacrifice and all. Yeah. The word, even though it is sacrifice, for a Bhakta he doesn't feel it as a sacrifice. Why? Because sacrifice implies an otherness. Are you able to follow this? When you say I have sacrificed, sacrifice implies a otherness. I will not say, see, for example, you will say, I sacrificed my interest and I helped somebody, you will say that. Will you say the same thing to your children? Why? Because there is no otherness. So the primary thing about bhakti is what now? The primary thing about bhakti is the removal of otherness is what bhakti is all about. And today's world, bhakti is exactly the opposite. No, bhakti is establishing the otherness. Bhakti is establishing the otherness, not the oneness. Correct. Shankar. If by mistake Shankar says the right thing, and if Shankar is saying the right thing, he is fast asleep. When he is awake, he will not give the right answer. And if he is giving the right answer, he is fast asleep. Oneness na type padsi. Idu tookathula irukrar polru oneness na adistar. Shankar awake sleeping? Aveka, right, correct. See, where there is oneness, you will not say. Where there is oneness, there is no concept of sacrifice. In oneness, there is only service. So a bhakta goes on serving. Who he serves? Who he serves? Not the other same group devotees. Krishna was a devotee. Then I will serve. You are not a devotee of Krishna? Go out of this group. Serves the fellow beings. Why the fellow beings? Because the fellow beings are all manifestations of divine. The oneness. The fellow beings are all manifestations of the divine, the oneness. So, what is it? Very beautifully he says, real and earnest part of devotion is annihilation of the ego. Otherness goes out. Ego is otherness. What is ego means? Ego means you are separate from me. That's ego. You are separate, I am separate. That is ego. Eradication of ego means we both are one. We both are one. So that what is Bhakti Yoga now? Oneness is, developing the oneness is Bhakti Yoga. Considers himself as a spoke in the wheel of life. That entire paragraph is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga Bhakta. And just by heart these 4 sentences. 12th paragraph. I don't know. In my book it is 12th paragraph. The real and earnest part of devotion is seen in the annihilation of the ego. First one. Second point. A true devotee considers himself a spoke in the wheel of life. Third point. Surrenders his individuality to the totality. Surrenders his individuality to the totality. Totality means, what is totality? The divine law is the totality. What is the totality means? The divine law. And what is the divine law? The deity becomes a representative of the law. Are you able to follow now? The law is there and the deity becomes a representative of the law. So, when I say I am surrendering to the deity, I am devoted to the deity, means you have to surrender to the law. What is the law? What is the law? There is only one law. What is the law? The divine law. What is the divine law? Have an ego, you suffer. Eradicate the ego, you are in bliss. That's the divine law. That's all. What is the divine law? You keep your ego intact, you will suffer. You eradicate the ego, you are blissful. Avladha. The divine law is surrendering to the totality means the law, and deity is a representation of the law. The national flag is also a piece of cloth only. The tailor, when he is stitching the national flag, he will be stamping on the national flag. Correct? Will you go and say will that tailor will be put behind bars for that? Same national flag you take and you insult, you will be. What is the difference? You are supposed to understand what it represents. Correct. You are supposed to understand what it represents. When you take the law book constitution and burn it, it is a book. It is a book of words. By burning a book of words, why do you have to be punished? But you will be punished. Why? Because it represents the law. So you are not punished for burning the book. You are punished for violating. What are you punished for? You are punished for not understanding, not knowing what it is meant for. You are punished for that. What is the punishment of life? Sorrow and suffering is the punishment of life. Why the sorrow and suffering comes to you as a punishment? Because you don't recognize the oneness. You don't recognize the oneness. Not recognizing the oneness means having the segregation. What is the segregation? You agree with me, we are all one group. You don't agree with me, you are different, I am different. What does my group says? My group will say, Shiva is the God. And Vishnu is inferior to Shiva. I agree Vishnu is God. I am not saying Vishnu is not God. But yaar powerful is a debate. That fellow will say, no, I agree Shiva is also God. But yaar powerful is the debate. Are you able to follow? They will take knife and stab each other. And this happens in the name of Bhakti. How dare you talk about my God? How dare you can insult my God? Yeah. How dare you insult my God? And if anybody insults my God, and if I punish them, God will give me special place in heaven. ஏன்னா அவருடைய குரூப்ல ஒரு ஆள் சேர்த்து விட்டான்ல, ஆள் பிடிச்சான்ல நான் அவருக்கு. I have added one more person in his numbers. What is Bhakti? Bhakti has got nothing to do with what you sign up for. Bhakti is a recognition of oneness. Bhakti is a recognition of oneness. Are you able to follow the logic and reason? Bhakti is a recognition of oneness. Oneness means what? Oneness is not after they agree with you. Irrespective of who they are and what they are, you have a affection to everybody. This is called Bhakti. Are you able to follow now? Irrespective of who they are and what they are, you still have the same affection. It is called Bhakti. If it is towards the equals and lower, you would use the word love. If it is towards the higher, you would call as Bhakti. But here, love and Bhakti is one and the same. For both means a fondness, a affection. And where there is affection, there will be service. There will be service. Where there is affection, there is understanding. Where there is affection, there is an understanding. What is the understanding? The child makes the mistake, you punish the child, but the affection will not go, correct? There is no hatred towards the child. So, what is bhakti, what is love now? Irrespective of how you act, the inner emotion is one of affection and fondness. Are you able to follow? But today what people are doing, everybody is trying to, we are all one, provided you agree with me. Then where is oneness? Are you able to follow? If you are agreeing with me, then the point of oneness doesn't exist at all. Oneness means you still are. Oneness means you still will have your own independent
point of view.
You will still have your independent views, opinions, whatever be it. All that will be there. But your views and opinions have got nothing to do with me having my affection towards you. This is Bhakti. Abu Ben Adam expressed that. Abu Ben Adam expressed that. What does this poem Abu Ben Adam says? Very simple. Abu Ben Adam says, the angel is writing. Abu Ben Adam went to the angel and asked, what are you writing? I am writing the names of those who love God. Who love God. All the great Bhaktas' names are written. Yeah. Surdas, Ramdas, all the great devotees of God, their names are written. Abu Ben Adam asked, is my name in that? No, because you are not. You don't have any of, you are not. Then Abu Ben Adam said, okay, create a new list. Create a new list. What is the list? Write me as one who love my fellow beings. Write that. Angel said, okay, this is a list, the useless list. He wrote that and went. The angel vanished. The next night it came back with a great awakening light. It came back with a great awakening light. What is that awakening light? When it went to God and gave the list, God gave the angel his list. God gave the angel his list. And in his list, the first one is Abu Ben Adam. May his tribe increase. May his tribe increase. So beautifully he says, may his tribe increase. What is may his tribe increase means? May his tribe increase. Means let there be many more Abu Ben Adams. Let there be many more Abu Ben Adams. An affection unpolluted by selfishness is bhakti. A feeling of affection, a feeling of fondness, unpolluted, uncontaminated with selfishness is bhakti. Then the challenge is how to get rid of the selfishness now. How to get rid of the affection, but our affection is polluted by selfishness. How do I know that our affection is polluted by selfishness? Remember the formula? Love plus selfishness equals attachment. So, love has to be maintained. What has to be eliminated? Love has to be maintained, but what has to be eliminated? The selfishness has to be eliminated. But generally what people do, they will retain the selfishness and get rid of the affection. Yeah. What people do? Selfishness is retained, affection is lost. What is bhakti? Affection is retained, what is lost? Selfishness. And what is the way to do that? What is the way to do that? The way to do that is adveshta sarvabhutanam. That's where it becomes a very difficult, Bhakti Yoga becomes a very difficult discipline. Now what is the difficult discipline of Bhakti Yoga? What is the difficulty in the discipline of Bhakti Yoga? Because in Bhakti Yoga, what has to reduce? Selfishness has to reduce. Your selfishness, sir. Others' selfishness, no? Correct, sir. I fully agree. Everybody around me must drop their selfishness, sir. If you want to turn into a bhakta, whose selfishness must drop? Your selfishness must drop. When your selfishness drops, you become a bhakta. You become a devotee of God. You become a devotee of God. Therefore, to conclude the discussion on Bhakti Yoga, from next class we will start with Jnana Yoga, the next topic. Yeah, the next chapter, Jnana Yoga. Today we are concluding with Bhakti Yoga. And what is Bhakti Yoga? Reduction of selfishness and retaining the affection. If you carefully look at, generally all our affection, Vedanta in one word calls it as attachment, and people get very angry. Everybody gets very angry at these definitions. They say, how can you, my affection is so pure and genuine, how can you degrade my affection? People think like that. Or they go back saying, okay, maybe நம்மளுக்கு சொல்ல நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்கிறவங்கெல்லாம் இருக்கிறாங்க போல இருக்கு அப்படி. I am not like that, sir. Maybe clear. I always think like this, sir. If 1,000 fellows come for the lectures, all the 1,000 will go back thinking what? All the 1,000 will go back thinking, all that is said I am already following. This is for that 999. All the 1,000 goes back like that. When he said that, I couldn't believe. Now, I couldn't believe. He said, you think all these people are listening to me? No. Then I asked, then why will they come if they are not willing to listen? Why will they come there? They are coming, they are sincere, they are appreciative. He said, not a single fellow is going to listen to what I say. Why? Because they all go back saying, correct. அவர் சொல்றதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட், but applicable to the 999 because I am following that already. What is Bhakti Yoga? Vedanta is not asking you to develop affection. Carefully follow. That's why never in Bhakti Yoga it is said develop affection. It didn't say that. Start loving. It didn't say that. If you have observed in 3 weeks of discussing Bhakti Yoga, never we said start loving. We didn't say anything like that. All that he said in Bhakti Yoga is what? All that he said in Bhakti Yoga is what? Remove the selfishness from your affection, it turns into bhakti. the subtlety you should be, at least you should be able to appreciate the subtlety. Are you able to follow? It didn't say start loving. It didn't say start being affectionate, start loving. It didn't say all that. All that it said is what? Remove the selfish component from your affection. Ensure that the selfishness doesn't pollute your affection. And what is selfishness in affection? What is selfishness in affection? Selfishness in affection means as long as you are agreeing with me, I will be affectionate to you. The moment you disagree with me, out you go. You are separate, I am separate. This is called selfish. Are you able to follow? See, I will briefly describe. In 2 minutes I will explain what selfishness is. The affection of us should be liberating to another. The affection of us should not suffocate the other. My affection should not suffocate the other. Today, your affection, today, one's affection is suffocating the other. That is why everybody wants freedom from their loved ones, no? See, everybody wants freedom not from the stranger. Everybody wants freedom from the loved ones. Why? Because our affection is suffocation. Why our affection is suffocating? Because I love you. T and C apply. Ada. Ada selfishness. I love you. I love you. One of the persons known to me, he kept it as a lecture topic. I said, Chumma pa, I said, you can't, you know. I love you. Wow. Within brackets. On fine print. T and C apply. What is Bhakti? Now what is Bhakti? I love you. No? T and C doesn't apply. T and C apply na, it is selfishness. Are you able to follow the difference? Terms and conditions. What are the terms and conditions? You listen to me, you should agree with me, suffocating the other, torturing the other, begging the other to love. This is all suffocation. I love you. Love me now. Don't you love me? Don't you love me? The other fellow says, no, I don't. Why will I? You can't, affection cannot come put at the gunpoint, no? Are you able to follow what is selfishness in affection? What is Bhakti Yoga now? It is not removal of affection, it is the eradication of selfishness. Abu Ben Adam says, I love my fellow beings. Abu Ben Adam said, I love my fellow beings. Meaning, there is no selfishness in my affection. There is no selfishness in my affection. If there is no selfishness in your affection, what happens? You will not have hatred, you will be very friendly. Are you able to follow? If there is no selfishness in your affection, what will happen? You will not have any hatred towards anybody. You will be very friendly. Whatever the 35 qualities he spoke about. Forgiving, ever content, free from joy, fear, and whatever the 35 qualities he spoke about becomes the qualities of the Bhakta. So, to conclude Bhakti Yoga is not developing affection. For you need not be told to say love. You need not be told to say be affectionate. There is love, there is affection, but that love and affection is polluted with selfishness. Bhakti Yoga is a discipline by which the polluted emotion of affection becomes pure. So what is Bhakti Yoga now? Bhakti Yoga is a discipline by which the polluted emotion, the polluted affection becomes free from pollution. It's there. Love is there. Affection is there. But what is unnecessarily disturbing that? The selfishness. And removal of selfishness requires discipline. As he said, high level of discipline and training. Or removal of selfishness requires a very high level of discipline and training. And you develop the divine traits. With this, we conclude the topic on Bhakti Yoga. Next week, we start with the discussion of what is Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. I hope everybody is only clarifying what I said.
So Vaijayanti has a question.
Vaijayanti has a question. Correct. Adukku munnadi Kandavel. What is Kandavel saying? Did you meet any God-realized person? Kandavel. After the class you call me. I am sitting and talking in front of you and you are asking, did you meet any God-realized person? No question. There is a scripture and is asking, did you meet any God? What do you think? You are a tuition teacher and chinna. Did you meet any God-realized person? I have not met Kandavel. I have not met. Vaijayanti. How to have affection without selfishness? How to have affection without selfishness? Very good question. The way to have affection without selfishness is in understanding what selfishness is. What is selfishness? The other is for my happiness is selfishness. The other is for my happiness is selfishness. How to have affection without selfishness? I understand that others are not meant for they are not a toy for my happiness. My child is not a toy for my happiness. She is an individual. The partner is not there for my happiness. Selfishness is the other is there for my happiness. Abdinaka, it is selfishness. The other has to be squeezed and tortured for my happiness is selfishness. Squeeze the other, torture the other to make me happy. is selfishness. Make me happy, make me happy, make me happy, make me happy. This is called selfishness. Affection is a divine natural emotion. Selfishness is that which has added up in between unnecessarily. The affection, the love is a divine natural emotion. What is polluting that is selfishness. From another angle, selfishness means me above the others is selfishness. Whenever I say coexistence, selfishness goes out. What is selfishness? Me over the others is selfishness. And what is the consequence of selfishness? The consequence of selfishness is dukkha, sorrow. Whatever external reason you can give for your sorrow, இல்லையா? இந்த ட்ரம்ப்பும் பிடனும் அவ்வளோ க்ளோஸாக போயினே இருக்காங்க சார். அதுதான் இப்போ ப்ராப்ளமாக இருக்குது, இல்லையா? நீங்கள் சீக்கிரம் முடிச்சிங்கனாக்கா நாங்கள் போய் அதை பார்க்கலாம் இப்போ, இல்லையா? இல்லை, ரொம்ப அவ்வளோ க்ளோஸாக போயின்னு இருக்கிறாங்க. என்ன ஆக போகுதுன்னு தெரியல. ஸோ த சாரோ ஃபார் மீ இஸ் நாட் செல்ஃபிஷ்னஸ் சார். And Venkatachalam is sitting in the hot seat. You can see that who is now. You can say anything as the reason for your sorrow. The reality is, the truth is, there is only one and only reason for your sorrow, pain, suffering. What? Selfishness is the only reason for your sorrow and suffering. There is no other reason. But we all believe that other reasons are, but we all believe that other factors are cause for our sorrow. So, what is how to have affection without selfishness? By recognizing selfishness as poisonous. If I have understood it as poison, I will throw it out. Today, selfishness is seen as a virtue. That is why it is difficult. You have to establish your rights. You have to fight for yourself. You have to be vocal. See, today, selfishness is established as a virtue. From childhood, we are promoting selfishness as the right thing to do. Exactly the opposite. How to have affection without selfishness? We have to drop selfishness. Dropping selfishness becomes easy if selfishness is understood as poison. If selfishness is understood as a necessity. Sir, in the காலத்துல selfish இருந்தா தான் sir we can survive. Otherwise, in this corrupt world, in the modern day corrupt world, if you are not selfish, everybody will cheat you. Who can cheat? Bhakta says, when the divine is supporting me, who has the power to cheat me? Nobody will have the power to cheat me. And the divine will support me when I am free from selfishness. This is how you can have affection without selfishness. When we come to Karma Yoga, we will connect. Straight away don't come to Bhakti Yoga and all. Start with Karma Yoga, because in Karma Yoga, practices for reduction of selfishness is direct. That is why we always say, start with Karma Yoga. When we come to Karma Yoga, we will discuss that in detail. With this, I conclude for today. Next session, we start with Jnana Yoga.